You're not alone. That is the number one thing. You are not alone. It is our vision to make sure when you walk through our doors, you know that we are here for you.
Ever feel like you're in a constant competition between your career and your husband's patience? Your kids think you work too hard, but hey, you're doing it all for them, right? The struggle is real, and I've been there too. Moments of feeling like a crappy mom and wife because once again, your kids had breakfast on their way to school, and you've got more important things on your plate than cooking and cleaning. Hey there, working moms who are juggling a million things and still wondering if you're doing it right. I'm Veronica Cisneros, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a mama of 3, and married for 24 years. Welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast, where we dive deep into the messy, chaotic, and sometimes hilarious world of mastering motherhood, marriage, and business. I get it, balancing it all was never the goal, but here we are, trying anyway. I'm here to share my journey and guide you through yours. No more apologies for being driven, and definitely no compromises on your dreams. Together, we'll navigate the challenges of being a powerhouse in both business and family life. Join me as we tackle the uncomfortable conversations from being the breadwinner to changing the rules of what a marriage looks like. Let's figure out how to parent in a working parent household without the constant arguments or guilt. I'm Veronica Cisneros, and this is Empowered and Unapologetic, where we embrace the chaos, challenge the norms, and strive to live life on our own terms. Get ready for some real talk, actionable tips, and a few laughs along the way. Hey, ladies, welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast. My name is Veronica Cisneros, and we have a very, very sensitive topic, one that we don't necessarily talk about, one that we choose to ignore. And I don't think we choose to ignore this consciously, but it's something that we tend to avoid, and that is our own health. Today's guest is Regina Cassini, and her story with Michelle's Place began with a single moment of compassion in 2017 when she came across their booth at a health fair. She made a donation that day, feeling moved by their mission, never once imagining that just months later, she would find herself desperately needing that very support. Diagnosed with breast cancer, Regina walked through the doors of Michelle's Place, not as a visitor, but as someone whose world had been turned upside down. In the midst of fear and uncertainty, she found a lifeline, a place where strangers quickly became family, where art classes offered moments of peace, and where the raw truth of her experience was met with understanding and care. The support groups became a safe space for her tears, the kind words from staff, a balm for her soul, and the warmth of the community gave her the strength to keep fighting. When her treatment finally ended, Regina knew she could never fully repay what Michelle's Place had given her: hope when all seemed lost, comfort when she felt most alone. So she returned, this time with a new purpose. She started as a volunteer, determined to be that same beacon of light for others. Now, as a volunteer coordinator, she works alongside over 120 volunteers, turning her pain into purpose. Regina's heart is in every hug, every word of encouragement, and every shared tear, making sure that no one who walks through those doors feels they have to face their struggle alone, because she knows she's been there and now she's there for them. Regina, I'm so excited to have you on. I'm so excited for the amount of knowledge and education and the kick in the butt we all need. Thank you so much for being on.
Well, thank you, Veronica. I am very excited to do this.
Yeah. So can you share the story behind Michelle's Place and its founding?
Absolutely. So, Bill and Marilyn Watson and their family uh, founded Michelle's Place almost 23 years ago. Michelle was their daughter, and she was 19 years old, and she found a lump. And when she went to the doctor, multiple times I have come to learn, and was told, "You're too young, you don't have cancer, go live your life." And she did. She was a swimmer and a snowboarder and a hiker. She ate healthy. She did everything you could think correctly.
Yeah.
And at 23, she was joining the Peace Corps and she was having a medical exam, and they found that lump again, which she had always known was there, and said, "No, you have to have a biopsy." So she did at 23. And at 23, she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. So could you imagine? So that's, was a hard thing. But she went through her treatment. She did everything she needed to do. She had actually gone to Santa Barbara to visit a location there, visit a place there. And she had found a breast cancer resource center there. And it had a living room, and it had a yoga, and it had art classes. It had everything that she needed to support her through her journey.
Yeah.
And when she came back to Temecula, she said to her family, "We really need this. This is important." It was a place where she didn't feel alone.
Yeah.
And at 26, she passed away. And 1 year later, 2001, Michelle's place was opened. And we have had all of those things in a tiny little office. And it was her dream that this was a place that no one should face cancer alone. And that's our vision.
Yeah. Yeah. She did everything right. I think that's one
She
thing that
did.
comes up for me. She did everything right. And I think about my own health journey and my daughters. I have 3 girls, and trying to make sure we do it all right, make sure we ask all the questions. And I think about the women that are listening right now who tend to put their kids before them, tend to delay those medical appointments. I can't tell you how many women I interview, a lot of high achieving women, and I meet with a lot of high achieving women here at my practice. And one thing that is very, very common is none of them take care of themselves. None of them. They
Right.
can tell me the last time their kid went for their physical, but they can't tell me when they've gone through to their physical. And oftentimes they'll ask me, "Veronica, what's wrong with me?" And they want me to give them a diagnosis, generalized anxiety. Is this anxiety? Is this depression? And it's like, well, hold on. I can't give you that. I can't give you any of that until we rule out any medical conditions. When was the last time
Right.
you've had a physical? And they're like, well, and it's like, go get that first. We have to rule out anything medical before we go into anything mental. What are
Exactly.
the most common challenges women face when diagnosed with breast cancer?
There's a few. Number one is emotional distress, stress.
Yeah.
That is very big. Treatment side effects, closely second. Body image. What I don't look like I did before this
Yeah.
happened. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I did before this
No.
happened. So there's a lot of body image is a big thing. Financial stress, absolutely a huge thing. And our clients are getting younger. So how to tell my kids? How do I work with our children? How do I let them know that I'm going to be okay, or it's going to be a struggle?
Yeah.
So it's those are just a few of the many.
Absolutely. Um, I have lumps in my breast, and I did a podcast on this. I did a podcast episode on what that looked like, and I remember I've had lumps. I've had them forever. Um,
Mhm.
and they were first discovered 25 years ago. And I go for mammograms, I go for it all, right? And my last ultrasound that I did, they found 2 lumps on both sides, and they were small. Freaked out, totally freaked out. They wanted me to get
Okay.
another ultrasound right away. And she's telling me all of these things. I remember, and my doctor just happens to be one of my really good friends' husband. And they were gone on vacation, and I remember his staff is calling me, and, they're telling me all of these things about the size. And I can't even, Regina, I couldn't even, like, they were talking to me, and I know I could hear noise, but I could not register what she was saying. And I remember I was at my daughter's, I just dropped off my daughters and I'm in their parking lot by the gym and I'm just like, holy holy crap, like what am I going to do? And I call my husband immediately after and they're like, don't worry about it. We'll go ahead and get you an appointment today. It's like, why do I need an appointment
Mhm,
today? What
mhm,
what is this?
mhm.
And I call my husband. He's like, don't worry about it. We're going to make it happen. And I rush home. He works from home. And I could feel it now, like just increased heart rate, like foggy.
Absolutely.
I couldn't think. I couldn't think.
Mhm.
Ended up getting the ultrasound. The woman was so nice. She's like, she didn't even close the door. She was like, "You're fine." But still, that was not enough. I was like, okay, well now I'm going to get an MRI. Because I have breast implants as well, and so I'm like, and I have dense breasts, so all of the things. I'm like, I'm gonna get an MRI, and that cleared out. But I will tell you, Regina, in that moment, I'm a huge advocate of making sure you reach out for support. I'm a huge advocate for really, really empowering women. I mean, I'm a therapist. I'm a therapist. I have a podcast all about it's called Empowered and Unapologetic. And I remember while I was, in this whole zone, I remember coming, I started an argument with my husband. I don't know why the argument happened. Oh, I know why the argument happened, but I just wanted to get the hell out of there. I just wanted to get the hell out of there. And I'm like, where am I going to go? I can't go to my friend's house because they have kids and I can't call anybody because they have kids and they're busy. And so what do I do? And I hate to admit this, but I drove to my office, empty parking lot, drove to my office, walked up here and sat in my chair as if I was going to do work with no laptop, nothing. And I just started crying. I just started
Yep.
crying and I didn't want to call anybody. I didn't want to call anybody. Why? So,
So normal.
right? And
So
it's
normal.
so
So normal.
crazy. I'll call them if I'll call my friends if I'm like, hey, listen, I can't with my kids. I don't know how you're
Yep.
feeling, right? I will do that, but something
Yep.
so personal. What would you say is the common denominator on why we do this alone?
We don't wanna burden anybody.
Isn't that
We
so
yeah,
crazy?
we're the caregiver, we're the giver, and it's very hard to take. And, when people ask me, "What should I do?" My friend has cancer, "What should I do?" I said, "Don't ask them that what they need. You know what they need.
Yeah,
Do it.
yeah,
Drop off that gift card for Grubhub,
yep,
whatever your meal plan
yeah.
training is. Drop one off because they need that. Say to them, I am going to the store now.
Mm-hmm.
What can I get you?
Yeah,
Don't ask what do you need
no.
because that, I'm always saying, oh,
We
nothing,
don't
I'm
know how to
good. I'm
answer that.
fine.
We don't know how to answer
I'm
that.
fine. It's fine. We're
Yes,
all fine.
yes.
And that's really honestly because I am surrounded by women who are giving, and I still will not ask for help,
Yeah.
even though I know. And you have a few because there's a lot of people who say, what do you need? And then when you do tell them, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't do that right now. So you get shut down when you do
Mm-hmm.
ask. So
Yeah.
it becomes a difficult thing for someone to ask. So people say to me all the time, what do I do? Well, don't ask, just do.
Just
That
do
is
it.
the number one thing.
Beautiful.
If you're friends with the kid, if you have kids in the same age group, they're friends. So you know what? We're going here. Can I take? And then you take their child and you give
Yeah.
them a break. We don't ask for enough help, and it's because we're so used to caring for others that we
Yeah.
forget other people can care for us.
Yes. Yeah.
And they need you to do that. So that's the other thing. As a person who has gone through cancer and has had people help me, it's a gift to them to be able to help me as well.
Oh,
It's
1,000%.
they're losing all of their mind. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And you're constantly going, no, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. But if I tell you, oh yeah, yeah, you know what? You could pick up milk. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that they can do because in this chaos of cancer, they don't know how to help.
Yeah.
And giving someone an idea, letting them help you, not only helps you, but it also helps them.
Absolutely. What does Michelle's Place do to help women navigate through these tough times?
Well, you started it right there. We have patient navigators. So when our clients walk through the door, they meet a warm and welcome volunteer. Our desk is staffed by volunteers. When I walked through the door, I didn't know what I needed. And the woman got up, came around the desk, put her arm around me, and said, don't worry, we do. So
Oh,
you're met with a volunteer who is going to welcome you in. And then we set you up with, if you're in active treatment, we set you up with a patient navigator that is community health worker certified now. So all of our patient navigators are have gone to school, are educated, and they can take it to the next step. And they're honestly, everyone's here. Number one job to listen. I can't give you a medical decision. I can't tell you what you should do, but I can listen when you talk through it. And then as you're talking, you start to figure out what works for you. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just the right answer that works for you. And then through there, we have encouragement callers. So, who are also volunteers, and they pick up that phone and call you any time of the day, and they just say, "How are you?" And they're not paid by the hour, so they could spend a whole hour listening to you
I
just
love
talk about anything and everything. I pay them in love. So you said 120, I'm up to 160 volunteers, unpaid employees now.
Yeah.
So, and that's who does this. And then we have our support groups in our classes, and we have all of those other things that, formal support groups. So you are constantly talking about cancer, where you are in your journey, what you're doing, how you're fixing whatever's going on. But then we have what I call our group support. We have craft classes and yoga and tai chi, and you walk past the room and they're talking about everything and anything. And then two of them might just be sitting there, talking about cancer a little bit. It's not a formal setting. So it's not oh, we have to talk about this. It comes up naturally. And then we have that combined. We have a journaling and an expressive art class that takes your cancer and helps you walk through it in a creative outlet, so that it joins those two together. The others, we have distraction, because sometimes you need a
Yeah,
distraction, and
absolutely.
it's just support for each other. Some people are afraid to walk through our doors. I hear it all the
Yeah,
time because you hear the word cancer, and the cancer's in our name, and you hear that, and they're like, oh, they're going to see, bald people, and you're going to see people who are sick. And yeah, you're going to see bald people. You're going to see empowered, bald men and women
yeah.
who are doing what they need to do. And anybody that tells me that they didn't want to walk through our doors, 5 minutes after they're here, they regretted how long it took them to get here. And I tell everybody,
Mm.
there's no wrong time. If you didn't come during, the beginning of your treatment, it's okay. We wouldn't have been able to help you then. You weren't ready. But when you do walk through our doors, it's the best time. And people just love, we are not a scary place. We have a living room. We have music. We have a fireplace. We have laughter. And it's not sad or scary here.
I know looking for the right therapist can be challenging. However, feeling overwhelmed and disconnected is even harder. Life is filled with several twists and turns, some more severe than others. We do our best to handle them as they come and find ourselves at a loss, not knowing what to do or who to turn to. The clinicians here at Outside the Norm Counseling are here to help. We are here to assist you through this time of need. Together, we will identify your strengths and goals and teach you healthy coping skills. Together, we will develop a plan to help you live the life you want to live. Our team is compassionate, genuine, and we take a great deal of pride in providing an empathetic, non-judgmental approach to all of our clients. It's time! You've waited long enough, whether it be for you, your child, or if you're in need of a couple session. We are highly trained clinicians ready to guide you. Schedule an appointment now by calling 951-395-3288. Again, that number is 951-395-3288. We're looking forward to meeting you and being a part of your journey.
You mentioned that your clients are getting younger and younger. How young?
Yes. Last Friday, we had our beautiful you, which is a makeup, eyebrows, how to do all of that while you're going through treatment. And I worked with 4 women who were under 40 to help them find wigs. That is just in that one group. We know that young women and men all have different needs right now than I do at 50.
Yeah.
So they're thinking of having children. They're worrying about what happens when they want to have kids, and do we have to harvest our eggs? Do we have to, there are so many things to think about, and some people are, you don't really have a choice, you can't wait.
Yeah.
So did you lose that? What happened? Did you lose the opportunity to have children? So they have a different set of needs than we do, and we have some family events. So we do have our kids family night. That goal of our building was always to have multiple things going on and everybody to be able to be here. So the
Hmm.
kids go to a art therapy group, and the moms and dads or whomever can go to a breathwork class. We have the barbershop across the way, which is our husbands hangout. Uh, so it's not just husbands, it's fathers, it's brothers, it's anybody who is walking alongside someone who's going through cancer. And we serve all cancers. We started out as breast cancer, and we are in October, so that is the biggest focus now, but we serve all cancers. So the goal was always to have multiple things going on, and that is a beautiful event that day. I mean, it just, I'm try to always be at that one.
Hmm. When you mentioned that the clients are getting younger, how young? Like, what age range are they coming in at? The youngest?
So we have a few, I know personally, that are 19, 18, 19. We've had a 5-year-old. Yeah, I have a beautiful picture of her.
Yeah.
So we've had a 5-year-old. We've had some younger. A lot of the younger littles, they get a lot of support in their cancer center wherever they are. So it's not as much of a need for littles, but we do have some little clients. The youngest that we have that's active, I actually have a volunteer who came to us after her cancer journey because she saw us at an event at her high school, at a
Mm.
volleyball event, and she was 17 when she first came through the doors. So I know of two young ladies right now that are 19.
What is the comment? So I remember going for my screening,
Mhm.
and I was told by the radiologist that, yeah, they're getting a lot of 20, they're diagnosing a lot of 20-year-old women, young women, with breast cancer, early onset or early stages. Are you seeing that trend as well? A lot of.
Oh yeah. Yeah, most definitely. But we talk about it all the time. It's something we discuss all the time. Why are they younger? Why is this happening? And we realize that early detection is key. We are finding out earlier that we have, that there's cancer. Genetics is a very, very small percentage of cancer. You would think that it would be higher. It's not. So people are paying attention. They are advocating for themselves more. They are, learning what is right and what is wrong. Something doesn't feel right. And they're learning to speak up for themselves. 50 years ago, women did not talk about it. They
Mhm.
lived their life with it and they died. And while, yes, some young women are, stage 4, we are learning how to live with metastatic cancer much longer than ever before. So I have a client who is a 20-year metastatic thriver. She's been living with metastatic breast cancer for 20 years.
Wow.
So it's amazing. As we start to learn and we start to be more vocal, you just see that natural uptick. We've had a lot of colon cancer. That is huge right now. So
Mhm.
it's not just breast. Breast is the biggest,
Yeah.
and it is we still see more breast cancer clients than anyone. But it's not just, it's just because we're paying attention. We
Yep.
have you talked about your journey. My daughter was 18 when she found a lump.
Mm.
She's 25 now, and for the first her last ultrasound just 2 months ago was the first time someone didn't say to her, "Why are you doing this? You're so young." The very
Give it to
first
this woman.
ultrasound she had, they were very flippant with her, like, you're 18." And I'm sitting out in the waiting room and I looked at the woman and I'm like, "My bald head is not a fashion statement."
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
in the middle of cancer and you're going to question why she's concerned about a
Yeah.
lump. But they refused a mammogram because she was too young, they
Yeah.
said. But she has an excellent gynecologist who fought and You
made it
just monitor.
happen.
You have to know yourself, and you have to know what's right.
How important is early detection, and what steps should women take if they notice red flags?
Immediately make an appointment. Our healthcare system has
Yeah.
its issues. People don't wait. Don't
Mm.
wait, because it could take forever to get an appointment. And talk about the things when you go to the doctor. Something doesn't seem right, you know it. And early detection is important because the earlier stage you get it, the more options you have long term. There's always new treatment coming out. There are always between what my mother did 16 years ago and what I did 6 years ago, it is completely different.
Yeah.
I medications that she took for 7 years, I don't take that. I take a different one. So it's things are changing, and early detection will help because you can fight it earlier. You can do different things.
Mm-hmm.
Early detection. It is important.
So it sounds like based off of what you're saying, making sure you're doing bodily checks, making sure you're seeing if
Absolutely.
there's a lump. If you notice that there's a lump, contact your doctor right away. Make that appointment. And you're right. The same thing happens with mental health fields. Um, this is one of the
It
reasons
does.
why I have the podcast. I want to make sure I help them and my listeners into becoming their own advocates for mental health as well as healthcare. Um, so let's say we found a lump, we found the lump, we make the doctor appointment, and sometimes they'll go ahead and give you an ultrasound. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll give you a mammogram. Sometimes they'll give you one or the other or both. Um, I know I've been told, and I'm aware you're not a doctor, but still, just in what you've seen and what you've experienced. I know I was told, make sure that you found the lump, you've had the lump. I get my breasts checked every June, but now with the two lumps, I get them checked every 6 months because I have two on both sides. So now I get them checked every
Mhm.
month. So now my routine is getting an MRI once a year, and then a mammogram and an ultrasound every 6 months. That's just my routine. I just started that routine. Um, would just based off of what you've seen, if somebody is only given an ultrasound or if somebody's only given a mammogram, um, what would you recommend they do or they say to go ahead and take those added measures?
Right. So that is an MRI is very detailed. I have never had an MRI, and I've had cancer. I've never had a PET scan. I've never had any of those things. And I know I have seen you sometimes get a lot of false positives, and that
Yeah.
creates a lot of stress in in your life, and you don't need any more. I have a very good friend who got a PET scan every time something didn't feel right. It was all negative every time, and it caused so much. She has so much medical anxiety right now. So an MRI, again, no right or wrong answer. It's
Yeah.
what's best for you.
Yeah.
And if you truly believe that you need more, then you ask for it. It's okay to it's okay to ask for an additional screening. It is okay to get a second opinion. There's or a third opinion. There is nothing, and it's okay to change your doctor.
Hmm.
My sister's been in the medical profession for 40 years, and she questioned whether my brother-in-law should change his doctor. She didn't really. I'm like, do it. You have every right to change a doctor. If you are not meshing well, everyone needs something different. I don't need a hand holder. I needed someone who was
Right.
meticulous and told me what I
Hmm.
needed to do. But some people need that little bit more of a bedside manner. And so there's nothing wrong with changing your doctor.
Hmm.
So the biggest thing is get your screenings when you're supposed to. If you have someone in your family who has had cancer, mother, even aunt, you can get them earlier. My sister gets a mammogram and an ultrasound at every
Hmm.
screening because of my history and my mother's history. So utilize that. But also, on the other end, don't stop them. I
Yeah.
just spoke to a group of women the other day who they were told they didn't need them anymore. And I said, "Okay, you don't need a mammogram anymore, but you still got breasts."
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
And I said, well, okay, not a mammogram, but have you had an exam, a breast exam? Because they think once the other parts stop working for what they need them to work for, that you're done. You're not done. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're 70. My mother was 69 when she was diagnosed. If she had followed everyone's rules, she'd have stopped them a year later. And if it
Yeah.
hadn't been found, so the opposite is true. These women hadn't even had breast exams.
Yeah.
If you request it, I'm pretty sure you're allowed
They
to
give it to
have
you.
it. You have to jump through hoops. You probably have to do an appeals process, but there are laws that require women to be surgery to be, to put you back however
Mm-hmm.
you want to be. So
Mm-hmm.
should be on the other side as well.
What are some of the free resources available through Michelle's Place, and how can individuals access them?
First thing you do, you just call us or you walk through our doors. Number one, we take some basic information: name, address, phone number, demographics, type of cancer you have, those basic things. And then we have our support groups. Number one, support groups are important for some people, but not everyone. We have all of our classes. Like you said, if you ever go online and look at our calendar, we have yoga, we have Tai Chi, we have Reiki, I just saw
Mm.
our massage therapist walk by, we've had facials, we have craft classes, we have art classes, we have mosaic classes, we have a sewing class, we've had a cooking class, we have so many things. We also have behavioral health. It
Yes.
is our newest program
Mm.
that we have started. We have interns who are earning their practicum hours under a licensed social worker, marriage and family therapist, but they meet with our clients, they meet with their children, they meet with their families, and they offer just a little bit more than what we can offer.
Mhm. Mhm.
I have seen clients at the beginning and at the end of their journey, completely different people.
Mm.
And
Mm.
it's an amazing thing to see someone be able to talk through
Yes.
the
Oh, it's so
chaos in their
powerful.
mind and in their life,
It is so
and to
powerful.
know that they feel different. So
Mhm.
we have that.
Yeah.
We also have wigs and bras and prosthesis. So we have actual physical support items for people all at no cost. I'm probably forgetting a ton of things because we have so much here.
No, I love what you guys are doing. We've definitely, you guys have definitely sent over um, some women and families over to our office, and we've definitely
Yes.
provided them with services, and they've spoken so beautifully about Michelle's Place and everything that you guys have offered. And I was like, I have to connect. I 1,000% have to connect and get this out there, to provide that as an added resource. Um, Quick question: what questions should women be asking their medical providers after breast cancer diagnosis?
So, your standard one. What type, how advanced, what's the grade? All of those are standard, but the one of the big ones are, what are my options? Do I have to
Hmm.
follow this very specific protocol, or is there something that I can do differently?
Yeah.
When I went for radiation, they looked at a chart and they went like a multiplication table. They went this way and they went this way, and that's what they decided. Is that best case? I don't know. There's always a question of what what else can I do?
Hmm.
We have a lot of medical interns that come through here and take a tour so they can learn about our services. And the number one thing that I tell them is exactly what you said earlier. When someone hears you have cancer, they've heard nothing else after what
No.
you've said.
No.
So I remind them that they at least have a little compassion and explain things a little bit better
Hmm.
and re-explain them. So then I tell the clients on the other side of that, ask the question, get the answer. And if
Hmm.
you don't understand the answer, ask it to be explained to you again.
Yep.
Because Dr. Google will have us worst case scenario every
Hmm.
time.
Yep.
You're going to get that. They're going to take that list and they're going to go home and they're going to look it all up and they're not going to understand a single thing. And it's going to have the worst case scenario. Ask the questions and understand what is being told to you. And if they don't have time, because I can sit with you for an hour, a doctor cannot.
Yeah.
Ask when is a better time. Ask, can I email you my list of questions? The number one thing is I say to people all the time, have your list. My phone is full of questions. Anytime I have a question, something comes up, I write it down. And when I go to see my doctor, I'm at yearly now, I have this list of questions and I pull, and she knows, where's your phone?
Yep.
Because I have the type of doctor that knows that that is the case. So
Absolutely.
never be afraid to ask the question, ever.
Michelle, what is one piece of advice? What is one, maybe, I don't know, what is one thing you'd like to share with our audience?
It's not always terrible. You only ever read or hear worst case scenarios. Every Facebook group, whatever you go to, they're always telling you the terrible things. It's not always terrible. There can be happiness through it. If you walk through our doors, you will meet women who never knew each other and they are now the best of friends.
Mm.
And you're not alone. That is the number one thing. You are not alone. It is our vision to make sure when you walk through our doors, you know that we are here for you. Someone has heard those words in this building, and it's got to be pretty nice because we've had 7 clients become volunteers who became staff members.
Mm.
So people do not want to leave here
No.
because we provide joy, and that is the most important thing. Is you're not alone. Ask for help and accept it when it's offered.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How can we find you? So if we are in need of your resources, if we have questions, how can we find you?
So number one, we have a website, michellesplace.org. Very simple. And there are multiple things there. There is a button that says get help now, and it will drop an email, your name, and your phone number. And someone will reach out to you within 24 hours of getting that.
Yeah.
Walk through our doors. Absolutely. There's a get involved. So whether you have had cancer, haven't had cancer, if you want to get involved in Michelle's Place, we are a nonprofit. So we take donations, fundraising, all of that. But if you can't give financially, give of your time. I have 160 unpaid employees, and they are here because they want to be here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a definite way to give back. And we love when our clients stay.
Yeah.
Our clients become our facilitators. They become our support group leaders. We have a financial assistance program, and we have a client who received a Thanksgiving box. And a year later, she now fundraises and provides all 125 pies for our Thanksgiving.
Mm.
So that is a client who is giving
Beautiful.
back.
Regina, thank you so much for joining us. This has been absolutely amazing. I'm so thankful and so grateful for all the work that you do. Um, like, I think the biggest thing that Michelle's Place provides is family. Family.
Absolutely.
Thank you again, Regina.
Thank you so much. And come visit us. I want you to come down
Absolutely.
and take a tour and come and see us.
Absolutely.
And everyone's welcome. I mean, even if you don't have cancer, you can come see what we do here. So it's an amazing place.